Class, let's continue our discussion. Okay, nandun tayo sa number 23. Number 23 is about analytical procedures. Okay, discuss muna tayo ng konti, class, about analytical procedures. Okay? Analytical procedures. Sir, lagi ko nababasa yan pero hindi ko maintindihan. So, class, pag sabi mong analytical procedures, basically, you're analyzing using numbers, okay, or amounts. Okay? Analytical procedures, you're analyzing, or you're performing audit procedures using numbers or amounts. Examples ito, class, in yung ratio analysis. Ano pa? Lagyan natin. Ratio analysis, trend analysis. You also have yung regression, dyan din yan, or forecasting. Ano pa? Variance analysis. And benchmarking. Ayan. So, ito class yung mga examples of analytical procedures. Basta mabasa mo yung analytical procedures, ibig sabihin class, ina-analyze mo yung client, okay, or yung FS, ayan, using numbers or amounts. Ratio analysis, for example, class, gross profit margin, okay, ano pa? Net profit margin, what else? Asset turnover. And for example, yung client natin is si Cebu Pacific. Si Cebu Pacific kasi capital intensive yan. Tama? Puro planes. Okay? Usually kapag capital intensive, ang ina-analyze natin is return on assets. Okay? Mga liquidity ratios, current ratio, quick ratio, and so on and so forth. Ang tawag natin doon, ratio analysis. Okay? Pag sabi mo naman trend analysis, basically, titingnan natin ano yung naging trend kay Cebu Pacific. For example, class, yung revenues. Okay? Let's say this is 2019, 2020, 21, 22, okay? So, yung revenues, since may pandemic tayo sa 2020, so bumaba siya, ganun siya, okay? So, let's say tumaas siya ng starting 2022. For example lang, ang tawag natin yung class is trend analysis. Okay? So, ito yung revenues. Regression forecasting, variance analysis, basically, yun yung matututunan nyo in your MAS. Applicable din yan sa audit theory and in audit practice. Benchmarking naman, class, ibig sabihin yan, comparison to your competitors. Okay, sino ba closest competitors? Cebu Pacific. So, Cebu Pacific versus Philippine Airlines. Okay? So, titignan natin. So, for example, itong trend natin. For example, si PAL, ang nangyari sa kanya, ganun yung trend niya. Okay, ito si PAL. Yung revenues niya, talagang sobrang baba. And then, Cebu Pacific, pag in-analyze natin, ang nangyari sa kanya, for example, ganun. Ito yung Cebu Pac. Okay. Ba, pansin natin, si Cebu Pac, for example lang, okay, si PAL, sobrang bumaba yung revenues. Okay? Pero si Cebu Pacific, diba, parang naging stable pa rin kahit may pandemic. O yun pa lang, medyo magiging signal na para sa atin yun. Baka merong misstatement sa revenues ng Cebu Pacific. Okay? So, yun yung purpose of analytical procedures. So, basically, test natin yung reasonableness of the amounts. Okay. Analytical procedures can be used during planning, which is yun yung discussion natin today, during substantive testing, and during completion or completing the audit. Okay? Yung PSA, so tingnan natin, required ba yan by PSA? Required by PSA. Pag planning, required by PSA yan. So kailangan natin gawin yung analytical procedures during planning. Substantive testing is not required, but very useful yan, okay, during substantive testing. Actually, almost laging ginagawa in practice yan, but it's not required by PSA. Completion naman, class, is required by PSA. Tingnan natin kung ano yung objective for each stage. During planning, class, again, sabi ko dito, numbers or amounts yung ina-analyze natin using this. Tama? Now, since planning pa lang yan, ang ginagamit mo dyan, yung unaudited FS pa lang. Siyempre, wala ka pang audited FS yan, planning pa lang. Tama? So, gagamitin mo yung unaudited FS ni client para mag-perform ng analytical procedures. Tama? So, now, ang objective mo, class, dito is to identify areas that may represent specific risks. Okay? Identify areas that may represent specific risks. For example, ito class, ito na lang. Nakita natin, pag kinumpare mo kay PAL reasonable kasi alam natin sa pandemic talagang bababa yung revenues. Tapos kay Cebu Pacific, stable pa rin. Example lang pero in real life talaga bumaba lahat yan. Yun yung area na pwede nating may risk, yung revenues, okay? What else? Yung second objective nating class sa planning is to basically understand the business. Okay? Through the use of regression, through the use of forecasting, okay, ratio analysis, or benchmarking sa competitor, makakatulong din yan sa ating class to understand the business. Okay? During substantive testing, well, yung analytical procedures is used as a substantive audit procedure. Okay? Ganun pa rin. So again, pag substantive testing, pag analytical procedures, ito yung ginagawa mo. Ginagawa mo rin yan during substantive testing. Ngayon, class, sa completion naman, as opposed to planning na ang basis mo is unaudited, sa completion, audited FS na yung basis mo dyan. Kasi na-perform mo na yung audit procedures, meron ka ng audited FS. Now, ang objective mo naman dyan, class, is to test the reasonableness of audited amounts. Ayan. To test the reasonableness of audited amounts. For example, class, meron na tayong mga audited figures. Pag nakita mo doon, for example, interest expense. Okay? And then, meron kang long-term liabilities. Long-term liabilities. Pag dinivide mo yan, dapat kahit pa paano, malapit yan dun sa effective rate. Okay? Sa interest rate. Okay? So, isang example yun, ratio analysis yun. Isang example yun, para malaman mo, reasonable ba yan? For example, dinivide mo yung dalawa na yan. Audited interest expense over audited long-term liabilities. Ang nakuha mo, for example, is 30%. Okay? Overstate natin. So, yan. Weird yan. Okay? So, unusual yan. Kasi ang rate, for example, ang interest rate lang ni bank is 6 to 8%. Pag ganyan yung nakuha mo, hindi reasonable yung figures. Kuha mo yan? Okay. So, again, during completion, basically, ang gusto natin dyan, iti-test natin yung reasonableness ng mga audited amounts na nakuha natin. Okay? So, ayan yung analytical procedures. Let's go to number 23. Analytical procedures used in planning should focus on A. Evaluate the adequacy of evidence gathered concerning unusual balances. Actually, substantive testing yung A na yan. B. Testing individual accounts that may depend on accounting estimates. Substantive testing din yan. Enhancing the auditor's understanding of the client's business. Understanding the business, makakatulong din yung analytical procedures yan during planning. Letter C. Identify material weakness in the internal control. Okay. Yung internal control, well, nasa understanding and testing of internal controls yan. So, wala yan sa planning. That's why letter D is eliminated. Letter C yung answer natin. This consists of the analysis of significant ratios, trends, including the resulting investigation of fluctuations, deviate from predictable amount, answer natin doon, analytical procedures, letter C. Okay. Number 25, a basic premise underlying analytical procedures is that A, these procedures cannot replace tests of balances and transactions. Yung A na yan is actually substantive testing yan. Balikan natin next time yan. B, statistic tests of financial information may lead to the discovery. Okay. Study of financial ratios and acceptable alternative. Actually, dog yung sagot dito. Yung basic premise natin, class, is plausible relationships among data may reasonably expected to exist and continue in absence of conditions to the contrary. Ano ibig sabihin ng class? So, ibig sabihin, class, may mga accounts tayo. Pag sinabi kong accounts, yung mga line items, okay, may mga accounts tayo in the financial statements na closely related. Ano mga example? For example, class, AR and sales. O, di ba? Directly related yan. Tama? AR and sales. Ano pa? Kung yung example ko dito, interest expense and long-term liabilities or interest-bearing liabilities. What else? How about yung depreciation expense and property, plant, and equipment? Mga closely related yan, okay? Mag-expect tayo na merong plausible relationships among these accounts, okay? So, yun yung underlying assumption of analytical procedures. Kaya, we can use analytical procedures as an audit procedure, ratio analysis, trend analysis, and so on. Letter D is the answer for number 25. Okay. Number 26. Which of the following is an analytical procedure that an auditor most likely would perform when planning? Okay? A. Confirming bank balances. B. Scanning AR. C. Recalculation. Yung A, B, and C, substantive testing yan. So, mali na agad yan. Letter D is comparing the current year account balances for conformity with predictable patterns. Ito. Pwedeng trend analysis, pwedeng forecasting. Okay? Letter D yung sagot natin dyan. Number 27. One reason why an auditor makes an analytical review of the client's operations is to identify A. Improper segregation of accounting and other financial duties. Weakness of material nature. Unusual transactions or non-compliance. Actually, class, letter C yung sagot natin dyan. Unusual transactions. Bigyan natin ng example. So, for example, ito naman, depreciation and PPE. Okay? So, we know, class, kapag ang ginawa natin dyan, let's say, quick estimate lang. Okay? Pag yung PPE, dinivide mo sa annual depreciation, okay? Di ba, makukuha mo yung estimated useful life of the PPE. Tama lang? Okay. So, for example, class, dinivide mo yan. Ang nakuha mo, let's say ang PPE ni client is equipment lang. Okay? Equipment. Tapos, dinivide mo yan. Ang nakuha mo is 20 years. O, unusual yun. Okay? Equipment na maglalast, for example, ng 20 years. Okay? For example, 5 or 10 years lang on the average. 20 years na compute mo. Possible na may unusual transactions. Okay? So, iyan din yung isang reason for the use of analytical procedures to detect unusual transactions. Letter C is the answer for number 27. Number 28, which of the following statements about analytical procedures is incorrect? Okay. A, analytical procedures are required to be performed in the planning. Yes. Analytical procedures are required to be done during testing. Mali yun. May lang. Okay? It's not required. Okay? You may use analytical procedures. It's not required. Boy yung sagot dyan. Analytical procedures are required to be done during completion. Yes. Analytical procedures may be performed in the planning, testing, completion phase of the audit. Okay. So, letter B yung mali dyan. Analytical procedures are required to be done during testing. Hindi siya required by PSA. Pero again, in practice, laging ginagawa yan. Okay? Analytical procedures during substantive testing. Number 29, which of the following items tend to be the most predictable for purposes of analytical procedures? So again, class, sa analytical procedures, very important yung ratio analysis natin. Okay? So sabi dito, class, alin daw yung most predictable? Or yung pwede nating i-forecast, pwede nating i-project? A, relationships involving balance sheet accounts. B, transactions subject to management discretion. C, relationships involving income statement accounts and data subject to audit testing. Okay, pili ka lang between balance sheet and income statement accounts. Alin yung mas madaling i-project? For example, kaya mo i-project next year. Balance sheet account or income statement account? Ang sagot dyan, class, is income statement account. Bakit, sir? Balik tayo dito sa example natin. Kaya mo bang computein yung depreciation expense next year? Yes, okay. Depreciable cost over useful life, yun yung depreciation expense mo. Kaya mo bang computein yung interest expense next year? Yes. Yung carrying amount, multiply mo sa effective rate, yun yung interest expense mo next year. So, madali mag-compute ng mga income statement accounts. Yung balance sheet, mahirap yan. For example, hindi mo alam kung bibili ng PPE next year. Hindi mo alam kung may borrowings next year. Hindi mo alam kung how much yung accounts receivable next year. So, mas madali i-project. Kaya nga i-project yung balance sheet accounts, pero mas madaling i-project yung income statement compared to balance sheet accounts. Got it? Letter C is the answer. Number 30, when planning an audit, an auditor should. Okay, so planning tayo. Consider whether the extent of substantive procedures may be reduced based on the result of internal control. Yung letter A, may mention na substantive testing, may mention na internal control. So we know, hindi pa part yan ng planning. Sa latter part pa yun. Mali na agad yung A. B, make preliminary judgments about materiality thresholds for audit purposes. Tama yan, okay? During planning, nagsiset tayo ng materiality. Kaya yung pangalan ng topic natin today is audit planning and materiality. C, whether there are changes in compliance with prescribed control procedures. Preliminary draft of representation letter. Yung C is testing of controls. Yung letter D is completion. Boy yung sagot natin dyan, materiality. Materiality is last concept na i-discuss natin for today. So malapit na tayo matapos, class. Pwede ko na, pwede ko nang... Hindi, ito na lang. Okay. I-retain natin yung illustration natin. Baka makapag-refer back tayo dyan. Okay, so dahil na tayo sa analytical procedures, punta tayo sa materiality. Okay. Materiality for me, ito yung one of the most important concepts, no? Critical concepts in audit, materiality. Okay, sige, discuss natin yan and then I think last 10 questions na ba? 9 or 10 questions. Anyway, so let's go to materiality. Materiality. Very important concept. Ayan, materiality. Okay. So class, do you remember kung ano yung definition of materiality in your accounting? So sa conceptual framework, kung maalala nyo, pag sinabing ang isang item is material, it means it can influence the decisions of the user. Tama? Kapag material siya, makaka-influence ang decisions. If hindi, ang tawag natin is immaterial. Tama? What else? Kung maalala nyo class, yung sa very first lesson natin, yung objective natin is as auditor, is to provide reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. Okay? Hindi natin sinabi na free from misstatements. Hindi. Free from material misstatements. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pwedeng yung FS na ibibigay natin, yung audited FS, pwedeng may mga misstatements doon, pero immaterial misstatements yun. Got it? Okay. Kaya class in audit, walang absolute assurance. Okay? Because ang pinapangako lang natin, reasonable assurance that FS are free from material misstatements, not from all misstatements. Material misstatements lang. Another application class of materiality is ganito. Imagine si Robinson's Bank. Okay? So si Robinson's Bank, let's say marami siyang branches in the Philippines. Every day, meron siyang thousands of transactions. Let's say deposits. Thousands of transactions. Tapos i-audit natin. Okay? I-audit natin yan. So class, tingin mo, efficient ba yun kapag in-audit mo lahat ng transactions? So kung 1,000 transactions per day, let's say 22 days, okay? Kasi walang weekends, 22,000 transactions a month, times mo sa 12 months. So lahat yun, pag tinest mo, sobrang inefficient nun, costly, okay? And in audit, we know, kailangan i-perform natin yan efficiently and effectively. Para maging efficient yan, we have to apply the concept of materiality, wherein, itetest lang natin yung mga transactions na material. For example, lahat ng deposit na 10,000 and above, yun lang yung itetest natin. So, marami ka nang may eliminate ng mga transactions. Got it? Okay. So, because class, yung deposit na 100 pesos, iba yung effect niyan sa FS versus deposit na 10,000 pesos. This one might be immaterial, this one may be material. Got it? Okay, so yun yung materiality. Now, in practice class, usually, may mga, ano naman tayo dyan, yung setting the materiality, kasi amount yan eh, tama? Amount yan, threshold yan eh. So may mga guide sa atin dyan, no? May mga guidelines sa atin sa practice. So don't worry, madaling matutunan sa practice yan. Siyempre, nandiyan na rin yung professional judgment natin. Okay? Professional judgment. So kaya yun yung maganda sa, kunyari, meron kang Ernst & Young, Deloitte, PwC, maraming tools yan, maraming guidelines yan, mga resources na pwede mong aralin to set the materiality level. Okay? Pero class, usually, ito yung in practice ganito nangyayari. So, yung materiality threshold is computed, usually, ano siya, 0.5% to 1% of assets. Okay? Pwedeng 1 to 3%, 1% to 3% of revenues. Okay? And then, 5 to 10% of net income. Ayan. So, ito class yung usually nakikita ko in practice, no? Pero, syempre, paiba-iba yan. Depende sa industry. May mga guidelines again. Pero, yan yung madalas ko nakikita. So, based yan sa certain amount. So, percentage of certain amount. It can be assets, revenues, or net income. Alright? Now, class, meron tayong tinatawag na materiality levels. We have 2 levels. Okay? So, listen very carefully. Important concept to. Number 1, yung first level natin, ang tawag is overall / planning materiality. Okay? Pag sinabi mong overall or planning materiality, this is at the financial statement level. Okay? Usually percentage yan. Ito siya. Pag sinabi mong financial statement level, ibig sabihin, ang basis mo is yung basically total ng FS na yan. Ano yan? Sa balance sheet, the assets, total assets. Sa income statement, it might be revenues or net income. Okay? Ang tawag natin dyan, class, later magko-compute tayo, pakita ko na sa inyo illustration, is the overall or planning materiality. Ibig sabihin, yan yung amount wherein material siya sa financial statement as a whole. Okay? So ito, yung pinakita ko kanina, related yan sa overall or planning materiality. Okay? So yung ganyan yung ginagawa dyan. Yung next level natin, class, 2 levels lang yan, is what we call performance materiality. Okay? Performance materiality. Yung performance materiality class, or ang ibang tawag dyan is tolerable misstatement or tolerable error. Take note kayo sa mga ibang terms na kasi baka iba yung mababasa nyo pero ibig sabihin, magkamukha lang yung meaning nun. Performance materiality is the same as tolerable misstatement, it's the same as tolerable error. So magkamukha lang yung three terms na yan. Overall materiality and planning materiality, magkamukha lang yan. Okay? This one naman, class, tandaan mo, this is at account balance level. Ano nga ba yung account balance level? Minention ko kanina yan. Iyan yung mga line items. Okay? Cash and cash equivalents, AR, investments, inventory, iyon yung account balance. Okay? Tandaan mo yan, ha? Pag sinabing financial statement level, basically, iyon yung mga totals. For example, total assets, total revenues, or the net income. Pag sinabing account balance level, per line item na makikita mo sa financial statements. Cash, AR, inventory, and so on and so forth. Okay. Pakita ko sa inyo kung ano yung use niyan. For example, yung client natin. Okay. Meron tayong client. Okay. Yung client natin, class, meron siyang kailangan nating malaman kung how much yung materiality. Okay? Sa planning, kailangan mag-compute na tayo yan. So let's say nag-decide tayo using mga guidelines and professional judgment natin, assets yung magiging basis natin kay client. Okay? So let's say in total assets ni client is 1 billion. Ayan. 1 billion. Okay? So 1 billion, multiply natin, let's say that is 1%. Multiply natin by 1%. Makukuha natin dito, class, is 10 million. Okay? Ang tawag natin dyan is the overall materiality. 10 million. Ibig sabihin, class, yung 10 million na yan, if misstated yung FS ni client ng 10 million, yung buong FS na, okay, is, or let's say, yung nakita natin na misstatement sa audit natin is amounts to 10 million, ibig sabihin, yung buong FS ni client, misstated na yun. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng overall or planning materiality. Okay. Now, computin natin yung performance materiality. Let's say, using mga thresholds, yung mga guidelines natin, let's say it's 50%. Multiply by 50%, you get 5 million. Okay? We call this the performance materiality. Actually, class, ito yung mas important. Yung overall materiality, guide yan to compute for the performance materiality. Ito, sobrang useful sa practice yan. Bakit, sir? Ganito yan. Listen carefully, ha? Yung performance materiality, may dalawang uses yan. Number 1 and number 2. Okay. Yung first use natin, to know which transactions to test. To know which transactions to test. Okay? For example, class, merong 5,000 transactions si client. Okay? Very inefficient na lahat ng 5,000 na yan, i-audit natin. Okay? Matagal matatapos yung audit natin. Okay? Costly. Now, pag in-apply natin yung performance materiality, okay, all transactions that are at least 5 million in amount, okay, amounting to at least 5 million, ito lang itetest natin. Okay? Yun yung first application ng performance materiality. Let's say out of 5,000, 1,000 dyan, merong 5 million or more na amount. Okay? Amounting to 5 million or more. Yun lang itetest natin, 1,000 lang. So yung 4,000, 5,000 minus 1,000, hindi natin itetest yun. Okay? So again, yun yung isang limitations in audit, is one of the limitations in audit na we can only provide reasonable assurance. Kasi hindi naman lahat itetest natin. Only 1,000 based on this one. Okay? So yun yung first purpose of performance materiality, to know which transactions to test. Okay? Number 2, para malaman natin, class, if the audit amounts, if the differences are material or not. Sir, ano ibig sabihin mo nun? So ganito siya. Ito yung number 2, okay? For example, meron tayong cash, AR, inventory, PPE, and for example, yan. Let's simplify. Ito yung audited natin, audited amounts. Ito yung unaudited. And then, ito yung difference nila. Okay? Now, yung unaudited, si client yung nabigay sa atin yan. Binigay sa atin ng client yung unaudited FS at the start of the audit. Yung audited, well, basically, nag-apply tayo ng audit procedures, we arrive at audited amounts. So, let's say, class, yung audited cash natin is 20 million. Si client, ang nireport niya is 30 million. So, meron difference na 10 million. Alright? For example, sa AR naman, 5 million. Si client, ang nireport 6 million. So, may 1 million tayo dyan. Okay? Sa inventory, let's say this is 10 million. Si client, nireport 8 million. So, may difference tayo na 2 million. Okay? Yung PPE naman, so let's say this is 50 million. Nireport ni client 70 million. Meron tayong difference na 20 million. Okay, so mag-concentrate ka dito sa column na difference. Difference between the audited and unaudited amounts. Okay. Yung second purpose of performance materiality is to know if material ba yung difference or not. 5 million, tama? So this one is material. Kasi nag-exceed siya ng 5 million. This one is immaterial. This one is immaterial. This one is material. 20 million is more than 5 million. Okay. So ano yung implication yan? Ibig sabihin, class, yung cash lang and yung PPE, yung magpo-propose tayo ng adjustments kay client. Okay? Magpo-propose tayo ng adjustments kay client. O, ibababa mo yung cash mo or ibababa mo yung PPE mo. Ganun siya. Lahat ng immaterial items, okay, hindi natin kailangan mag-propose ng adjustments for them. So, ibig sabihin, even if ang in-audit natin, yung AR, 5 million dapat, 6 million yung ni-report ni client, yung nasa audited FS, ipa-follow pa rin natin yung 6 million because immaterial yung difference. Nakuha niyo yung class? So again, ulitin ko ito yung concept sa audit na very critical. No? Kaya siya sinabing free from material misstatements. Kasi class, ibig sabihin yung immaterial misstatements acceptable sa audit yun. Got it? Kahit may difference tayo nakuha ng 1 million and 2 million because hindi siya material sa atin, because it's below the materiality threshold, acceptable sa atin yun. Hindi natin kailangan magbigay kay client ng proposed adjustments. Got it? So, ang lalabas sa audited FS, yung AR is 6 million. Okay? Inventory, 8 million. Nakuha mo? Ito, hindi yan lalabas. Okay? So, lahat ng material lang, yun lang yung may proposed adjustments tayo. Okay? Pero take note, class. All throughout the audit, meron tayong tinatawag na, ito wala to sa mga textbooks, no, sa practice na ito makikita. Meron tayong tinatawag na Summary of Audit Differences or SAD. Summary of Audit Differences, ito yung cumulative immaterial amounts. Ito yung, di ba, meron tayong mga immaterial dyan. So, in practice, ang ginagawa dyan, class, all throughout the audit, ito total mo yan. Tapos may isa ka pang materiality threshold. Iko-compare mo yung total immaterial, okay, sa isang amount. Possible kasi na immaterial siya individually, pero pag tinotal mo siya, magiging material siya. Okay? So, sa practice, ito-total mo yung lahat ng immaterial, then iko-compare mo pa siya sa isang amount. Hindi mo makikita sa mga books yan, pero ganun ginagawa in real life practice. Ulitin ko, class, ha? Important to kasi nakakalito yung mga textbooks. Hindi na-explain na maayos yung performance materiality. Una, performance materiality, to know kung alin yung transactions na iti-test natin because it's very inefficient to test everything. Number two, para malaman natin, class, kung yung difference between audited and unaudited is material or not. Kapag yung difference is material, magpo-propose tayo ng adjustments sa client. Kapag immaterial, hindi tayo magpo-propose ng adjustments. Acceptable yung immaterial. Okay? But in practice, ito-total natin lahat ng immaterial kasi individually immaterial yan, pero baka pag tinotal mo, magiging material. Then, titignan natin yung total immaterial if magiging material siya. Pag naging material siya, propose adjustment ulit tayo. If hindi, yun na yun. Okay? Kaya again, in practice, in audit, we provide reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatements. Hindi natin sinasabi na free from material and immaterial. Hindi. Free from material misstatements. Okay. So, yun yan. Let's go to number 31. 30 is boy. 31, the auditor must consider materiality in planning. Materiality for planning purposes is, punta ka class sa letter B. The auditor's preliminary estimate of the smallest amount. Smallest amount na hindi largest amount. So, ibig sabihin ng smallest amount, that would be material, pag once mag-exceed sa 5 million, okay, or once ma-reach yung 5 million, at least 5 million, material na agad yun. Okay? So, letter B yung sagot natin dyan. Materiality should be considered by the auditor when, number 1, determining the nature, time, and extent of audit procedures. Yes. Okay? Bakit, class? Bakit makaka-affect yan? Yung nature, time, and extent, pag-uusapan natin yan during substantive testing. Pero, let me explain kung bakit siya may effect dun sa, let's say, dun sa extent. Kasi, class, ganito. Tingnan mo to, ha? Yung first example natin. 1,000 out of 5,000 transactions amounting to 5 million or more. Ngayon class, imagine yung 5 million na yan, okay? What if ibaba natin yung materiality natin? Gawin natin 3 million. Ano yung i-expect mo class? Mas marami ba yung transactions na amounting at least 3 million? Yes, of course. So yung 1,000 transactions na yan, possible, baka maging 2,000 transactions na yan. Got it? Okay, so ibig sabihin, habang binababa natin yung materiality level natin, mas marami yung transactions na itetest natin. Okay? For example, isa pang example, kunwari banks, okay? May deposit na 1,000 deposits per day, okay? Ngayon, yung 1,000 deposits na yun, iba-ibang amounts yun. Let's say, class, yung initial threshold natin is, okay, lahat ng 10,000 peso na deposit, yun lang itetest natin. Pag binaba mo yun, okay, lahat ng 1,000, at least 1,000 pesos, yun yung itetest natin. Mas marami ka itetest dito. Kasi mas maraming deposits amounting to at least 1,000 than deposits amounting to at least 10,000. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's why increasing or decreasing the materiality level will affect the nature, time, and extent, especially yung extent of the audit procedures. Yung number 1 is correct. Evaluate the effect of misstatements. Ito. Kung material or not. So, yes and yes. In developing preliminary level of materiality, the auditor will A. Look at the audit standards for specific materiality guidelines. Actually, di mo makikita sa PSA yan. Wala to sa PSA. Okay? In practice yan. B. Increase the level of materiality if fraud is suspected. Okay, letter C yung sagot natin. Rely primarily on professional judgment to determine the materiality level. So, aside from professional judgment, ayan, yung may mga guidelines in practice. Pero usually, class, ganito yan. Pag capital intensive yung client, for example, airline company, real estate company, usually percentage of assets yung ginagamit dyan. Pag hindi capital intensive, ayan, revenue sa net income. Okay? Letter C. So, kaya mali yung D. Kasi sabi sa D, use the same materiality level used for different clients. Hindi. Pag capital intensive assets, pag non-capital intensive, revenue sa net income. Number 34, which of the following concerning materiality threshold is incorrect? No, alin yung mali dito? Aggregate materiality threshold or a function of the auditor's preliminary judgments concerning audit risk. In general, the more misstatements the auditor expects, the higher should be the materiality threshold. Class, agree ba kayo sa letter B na yan? Pag marami tayong errors na na-expect, okay? Okay, na-expect natin maraming errors. Anong gagawin mo sa materiality level? Do you decrease or do you increase? So, isipin mo mabuti, do you decrease or do you increase the materiality level? Kapag nag-expect tayo ng maraming error, gusto nating class na damihan yung evidence na makukuha natin. Tama lang? Siyempre, mas maraming errors. Dapat mas maraming evidence. Kailan dadami yung evidence mo? Sa 5 million or sa 3 million? Mas marami sa 3 million kasi mas maraming transactions yung more than 3 million kaysa transactions na more than 5 million. Parang yung example ko kanina, deposit. Mas maraming transactions amounting to at least 1,000 kaysa sa transactions amounting to at least 10,000. That's why, if marami kang errors na i-expect, dapat ibaba mo yung materiality level. Meron silang inverse relationship. That's why boy is incorrect. The more misstatements the auditor expects, the lower should be the aggregate materiality threshold. Okay? Ayan. So, let's go to C. The smallest aggregate level should be considered. Yes, smallest dapat. Letter D, materiality thresholds may change. Okay? Siyempre, initial threshold pa lang yan. As we go through the audit, possible na mag-change yan. Okay? Best answer, letter B. Incorrect is B. Uy, matatapos na, sir. Ayan. Number 35, in considering materiality for planning purposes, an auditor believes that misstatements aggregating 100,000 would have a material effect on the entity's income statement. But those misstatements would have to aggregate 200,000 to materially affect the balance sheet. Ordinarily, it would be appropriate to design auditing procedures that would be expected. Okay, so sabi dito class, pag 100,000 yung misstatement, yung income statement magiging materially misstated. Pero sa balance sheet, para maging materially misstated yung balance sheet, dapat 200,000 yung makita natin na misstatement. Alin daw yung pipiliin mong threshold dito? Is it the 100 or 200? Or average? Sagot natin dito, class, is the 100,000. Bakit, sir? Because yung definition of materiality is the smallest amount of misstatement that would be material to any of the financial statements. Smallest amount. Hindi largest amount, okay? Smallest amount. So in this case, pili ka between 100 and 200, the smallest is 100,000. Letter A. In planning the audit, the auditor should assess materiality at two levels. Financial statement level and account balance level. Pag sinabi mong FS level, assets, revenues, net income, pag account balance level, per line item yan. Okay? So class, for example, this one, nakuha natin 5 million. Pwedeng yung 5 million, ito yung gamitin mo for cash. Pwede ring iba yung threshold mo for AR, for inventory. Pwede ring same. Okay? So, kaya tinawag siya na account balance level. For each line item, cash, AR, inventory, PPE, 5 million yung gagamitin mo. Alright? Letter DOG is the answer. Financial statement and account balance level. Tolerable misstatement is the term used to indicate materiality at, kaya dapat familiar kayo sa terms. When you say performance materiality, it's the same as tolerable misstatement and tolerable error. Letter B, account balance level. Boy. 38, which of the following statements is correct regarding the auditor's determination of materiality? A, the planning level of materiality should normally be larger of the amount considered for the balance sheet versus the income is smaller. Okay. The auditor's planning level of materiality may be disaggregated into smaller tolerable misstatements. Yes. So, the auditor's planning level of materiality, 10 million, may be disaggregated into smaller, which is yung 5 million. Ang tawag natin, tolerable misstatements. Boy, yung sagot natin dyan, class. C, auditors may use various rules of thumb to arrive at the evaluation, but not for determining the planning level. No, may mga rules of thumb tayo. Ito. Pwede rin yan. So, boy, yung sagot natin. Okay. Yung letter D, the amount used for planning should equal to the used for evaluation. So, next time, sa completing the audit, meron din tayong another materiality level na i-consider, pwedeng iba yun sa planning. Siyempre kasi planning, hindi pa nag-start yung audit. Kapag completion tapos na, so maraming nangyari all throughout the audit process. In a span of 5 to 6 months, maraming nangyari dyan. Okay? So, possible na mag-iba yung materiality level. For 38, this boy, all else being equal, as the materiality decreases, the amount of evidence will. Okay. Pag binaba mo yung materiality, mas marami yung transactions na matetest natin. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, mas marami yung evidence na makukuha natin. Ibig sabihin, there's an inverse relationship. As the level of materiality decreases, the amount of evidence increases. Letter D, or dog. Number 40. Which of the following would an auditor most likely use in determining the auditor's preliminary judgment about materiality? A, anticipated sample size. B, the annualized interim FS. C, result of internal control questionnaire. Dog, management representation letter. Yung C, internal control, testing of controls. Eliminated na agad yan. Pinag-uusapan natin dito, planning pa lang. Content of management representation letter. Yung representation letter, completing the audit yon. Eliminated na agad yan. Boy, yung sagot mo dito. Entities annualized interim FS. Bakit, sir? Ano ibig sabihin yan? So, imagine class, yung materiality natin is either based on assets, revenues, or net income. Yung audit natin, mag-start siya, let's say, October. Tama? Let's say, October yung start ng audit natin. October 1. Ito yung December 31. Ito yung April 15. Alright, ito yung January 1. Now, ang i-audit mo na period is from January 1 to December 31. Tama lang? Okay? Pero ang start mo ito. Ibig sabihin, yung amounts dito, class, hindi mo pa alam yan. Tama ba yan? So, ano yung tawag sa financial statement na less than 1 year? Up to this point, less than 1 year pa lang yan, sa January to October. Ang tawag mo doon, interim FS. Okay? And yung setting of materiality is based on assets, revenues, and net income. As of this point, wala ka pang assets, revenues, and net income for December 31. Ang gagawin mo dun, class, i-annualize mo. Ipo-prorate mo basically. If ito yung revenues ko, as of October 1, how much kaya yung revenues ko pagdating ng December 31? Ang tawag dun, class, is annualized interim. So, pinoproject mo yung natitirang months, okay, from the start of audit, ina-annualize mo. Okay? Interim pa lang yung available sa atin. Okay? So, makukuha mo dun yung assets, revenues, and net income. Therefore, from there, mako-compute natin yung materiality level. Kaya tanong dyan, which of the following would an auditor most likely use in determining the auditor's preliminary judgment about materiality? And it is annualized interim financial statement, letter B. Okay, so that's the end of audit planning and materiality. So I think yung next topic natin is about audit risk. Dismissed.
The line that just goes on and on throughout this beautiful venue.